Okay, so hello. My name's Paul Salloway, and I'm from Optics Digital Marketing, and I'm talking to Martin Robinson, who is the owner of Martin's Eyecare in Glenorchy, Tasmania, just to the north of Hobart. So, hi, Martin. How are you doing?
I'm doing very well, thank you. So
Uh,
it's been a
so,
busy week and a busy month. So yeah, just
yeah,
work keeps going, keeps piling on.
yeah, never stops, does it? So, maybe
No.
to kick us off, you could just tell us a little bit about your practice, Martin's Eyecare. So, how it got started, your backstory. Just give us a quick intro to that.
Yeah, so my backstory's a little bit quirky because I'm not a Tassie local, so I'm a blow-in from Queensland, and I went to school in Queensland at a variety of places, and I went to uni in Queensland, and my first jobs were in Queensland as well. And my first jobs were partly in private practice and partly working for the Fred Hollows Foundation on a fly-in, fly-out sort of work through remote communities throughout Cape York Peninsula and the Torres Strait Islands, which was heaps of fun. And I did that right up until I moved to Tassie, which was in late 2006. And I started Martin's Eyecare as such in 2009. So, I'd been down here for a couple of years just doing a bit of locum and working for a couple of different companies, and thought that I missed running my own show, and I missed, providing the care that I think is appropriate as opposed to what a boss tells me is appropriate.
And you're in Glenorchy, so
Yep.
can you tell us a little bit about the community there? So just paint us a
So
picture of the area where you're located.
yeah, Glenorchy's a really interesting place, and I chose to go there because one, there's a really interesting dynamic of populations. There's people from all different walks of life with all different um, income streams and job roles, et cetera, et cetera. And it's considered in the past, I guess, it's been considered a slightly worse off suburb in some ways, but I really think it's more of a historically a bit of a working class suburb, which doesn't bother me because I'm from a working class family. That's how I grew up. We didn't grow up with, airs and graces. I didn't go to private schools or anything like that. So, for me, the mums and dads of the community are the ones that are the heart of Glenorchy. And there's new people coming into the suburb all the time, and there's almost a what's the funky term they do in the mainland? They talk about gentrification, and just sort of
That's it.
sort of up changes of societies and changes of suburbs. So Glenorchy is certainly becoming um, a, a a very livable suburb, which is its own city, which is very close to Hobart, but it's a little bit more space and a little bit less stress living out this way. And the city designers of Glenorchy, I think, did a cracking job. They did a great job of having lots of parking, flat land,
Mm, mm.
strip shops and shopping centres all mixed in, um, and it means that there's almost a conglomerate of medical care. So there's a lot of optometrists in Glenorchy. There's a lot of doctors and pharmacies and X-ray sort of pathology places as well. And so it means if you go to town, go to Glenorchy, and dentists as well, and chiropractors and physios, you can get all of that activity done catching one bus and going to one centre and having it all there. So it's a nice little hub, which is great. And it's not something Tasmania's done particularly well. There's a lot of hodgepodge stuff going on in various areas, but I think Glenorchy, their town planners back in the day did a really good job.
Okay. Well, well, it sounds great. Well, the thing that I'd like to ask you about first, Martin, is kind of preempted by your background there, which is the Telstra Best of Business Award.
Yeah.
And why was Martin's Eye Care chosen as the Tasmanian Championing Health Award winner in 2022?
Well, I've got, in some ways you don't know as a winner, you've won and you
Mm,
can have an idea about what you're good at and what you're successful with and what you're proactive about.
mhm.
But I guess I've got a slightly different perspective as well, which is possibly more rounded because the last couple of years since I won, I've been a judge in the 2023 Telstra Best of Business Awards for championing health category as well. And again this year in the 2024 Telstra Best of Business Championing Health Award as well. So I've been on both a contestant or an entrant sort of side as well as a judge. So I've got sort of dual perspectives. So I start to sort of see a little bit about why perhaps I was chosen above other, notable entries in this category because it's a big thing. Um, what Telstra look for is they look for a successful business. It can be small or medium sized or quite large. There are rules about different categories about who can enter. But they really are looking for someone that's almost batting above their weight. That they look for someone that's doing more than their core business to try and achieve a better goal, so better outcomes for Australians. Being a health champion, literally. What else are you doing? Are you just doing your 9 to 5? Which is great, and there's nothing against that. But are you doing something more than that? And that's what they're looking for. They're looking for something that's tangible. Um, so some of the things that I do that are perhaps more and not 9 to 5 sort of work is I um, also sit on boards of a not-for-profit organisation. So I sit as a board chair and a national president for the Cornea and Contact Lens Society, and I find that's a way of giving back to optometry. It's being a champion of all things front surface of the eye, which is my happy place. That's where I know more about, and that's where I've got better skill sets, and that's something that I'm very passionate about. I also do things like I go and speak to community groups. I go and speak to Lions clubs. I go and speak to Probus clubs, Rotary clubs, Legacy. All anyone that asks me, school for seniors and the like, I'll go and have a talk about eye health in general. And I'll ask them, what do they want to hear about? Do they want to hear about my tales and tribulations about the Fred Hollows Foundation work that I used to do, or do they want to hear about the common things that hit someone over the age of 50? What are the 5 most common eye conditions that are treatable or not treatable or whatever? What are the most common causes of blindness or something of that sort of nature? I even do a talk on driving. How does each of these common eye conditions affect you on the road? And I'll try and sort of talk to those people. And these people are not all my patients. Sometimes there'll be someone in the audience that is my patient that knows me, but we're trying to give education to the broader community. And why do you go to community groups? Because they have a broader reach than what I do. Each one of those people is active in the community. They go to events and they they raise money and they do sausage sizzles and they run stalls at the show and they talk to people and they promote the story about good eye health and good regular checkups and all of those sorts of things. So if you're going to have an impact that's larger than what you can do as a practitioner, then you embrace the community that you're within, and you try and get them on your side, and that raises my profile, I guess, in that there's a self-serving aspect of going and talking. But the major factor is trying to promote health awareness and eye health awareness in particular, and that's something that I'm really passionate about. In addition to that, I go and do public speaking. So I do speaking at local, national, and international conferences on eye health. And I sit on a couple of other national boards and advisory boards and things. So with that, I'm sort of, I guess in some ways I'm batting a little bit above my weight in some respects if we compare that to someone that's an employee that works 9 to 5. So I've got that luxury of being a practice owner, that I can give a little bit of my own time for the greater good or for other things. And that's something that I think is appropriate. We should be doing all as practitioners, as we should be helping as many people as possible.
Right. So it certainly does sound like you've been giving a lot back to the community in terms of education, and I know that within your practice you place a premium on like customer service and creating a good experience for all of your patients. So that, I think,
and that's the retail side of things, which is
yes,
the other half of optometry, because we
yeah,
can't really exist on just consultations and healthcare alone.
yeah,
So doing the right thing by each individual is key, and I think that's something that's missed sometimes in some places. I don't think everyone gives quite that individual attention and care, and that's something that I think we're pretty proud that we supply that as well.